If you're like me, you saw Spider-Punk in Marvel Rivals and really was hoping it would be our boy from Earth 138, Hobie Brown. After all, that's the Spider-Punk we all know and love from Into the Spider-Verse and from the comic run, but it is not Hobie Brown. It seems, just Peter Parker. But what if I told you that this was still kind of from a comic run, even though this is a game-only skin? The Edge of Spider-Geddon is a 4-issue comic run that came out in 2018 that finds us in New York City in Earth 138, where we find Hobie Brown fighting with Thunderstrike. But while he's trying to get him to leave and never come back, Thunderstrike is turned to dust by a Kang variant who calls himself Kang the Conglomerator. I can't say it without laughing, it's so good. Kang the Conglomerator. He wears a little suit, it's really funny. Peak Kangisms, it's great. This Kang comes from the year 2099. See where I'm coming from? See it yet? Where he runs Kangco and owns the life rights, identity, image, merchandising rights, and all intellectual properties of Hobie Brown and Spider-Punk. And that he was on this timeline for a business trip to try and get Hobie, especially because in the future he had turned Hobie into a family-friendly, edgy, marketable character to make things like toys and films. So he wants to take Hobie to 2099 to make a profit off of, because he would have the original big deal. He would have Hobie Brown, the Spider-Punk. And when he refuses, Kang attacks him with these little Tsum-Tsumified Spider-Punks that go after him. Kang then, while they're fighting, goes on a little spiel about how the people love a rebel, or the idea of a rebel, but they don't want the rebel to do rebel things. They want somebody who is a rebel with a cause, but not somebody who would actually rebel about things like capitalism, which is what this future marketable, watered-down version of Hobie is. And you can kind of tell because these toys have programmable phrases like "Punk's not dead" and "Fight the power" and "I love capitalism." Always. And "Capitalism rules," which I don't think I need to say anything else. You kinda get the idea. So Hobie goes to try and find Captain Anarchy, who is fighting with the Annihilation Wave in Harlem. But Hobie needs a tape from him to get the atom bomb that is strong enough to defeat Kang. Kang ends up showing up, and Captain Anarchy holds him off so Hobie can get that tape to the atom bomb that he talked about, which is Robbie Banner. This universe's Hulk, which will look familiar to you if you play Marvel Rivals, because it is the Punk Hulk skin. The only difference really is that Bruce has green hair in this and he doesn't have green hair in this comic run. But Hobie asks a favor of him, offering up the tape to try to get the atom bomb that he needs to defeat Kang, which would be Robbie turning into the Hulk again. But Robbie has sworn off being on the scene, and he admits that he kind of feels like he's being exploited by his friends because they only ever really need him to do this. So without that option, so we think, Hobie ends up going to fight Kang on his own, only for Robbie, literally 2 panels later, to turn into the Hulk and help him in the fight, so it didn't really last very long. And Hulk fights against Kang, and when he's Hulk smashed into the ground, Hobie asks why he's even doing this in the first place. Why wouldn't he go after Captain Anarchy? That's a Captain America, so isn't that marketable? And Kang says that Carl, Captain Anarchy, actually gets to live a long and fulfilling life, and Hobie is actually more marketable because he dies young. And since we don't know that Hobie hasn't died in the Marvel comic universe yet, and it's definitely not in this comic run, Hobie is kind of confronted with the news that he's going to die young, and that's a little scary. This is the first volume of this run, and there's more, and if you guys want me to cover the rest of this run, I definitely can. But in the story of this Spider-Punk, who is Peter Parker, who says, "If only Hobie could see it now," which means that this is probably the 2099 Spider-Man who has dealt with the marketed Spider-Punk and is emulating him because he admires him more so than it is Hobie Brown or a Spider-Punk Peter Parker. So while we don't actually have a comic run with this exact Peter Parker, it is very likely that it is taken from this comic run and the themes of it. So I hope that kind of answers your question on who Spider-Punk 2099 is. And if you like this and want to see more like this, be sure to comment and like and subscribe and hit that bell notification so you know when we post more things. And I will see you guys next time. Stay geeky!